AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. Iran says it will not allow military vessels in the Strait of Hormuz under a deal it's negotiating with Oman. Sakar Magani has details.
Tehran's deputy foreign minister says there's an understanding on a framework for managing traffic in the strait. And if it becomes binding, no military vessels will be allowed through. He says commercial traffic into the Persian Gulf from the Gulf of Oman would pass entirely through Iranian waters and partly through those and Oman's on the way out. The Trump administration has told Oman it's against that joint management and other parts of the evolving deal. President Trump last week threatened to bomb Oman if it, quote, gets in the way. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Ukrainian long-range drones hit a major warehouse belonging to Russia's biggest online retailer, Wildberries, for the second time in 6 weeks. Authorities say it started a fire that destroyed the facility. Kyiv says Wildberries sells goods that include equipment used by Russia's military. The company denies it. The U.S. Army plans to add nuclear microreactors at 5 military bases from New York to Texas. Lisa Dwyer reports it's seeking a reliable energy source independent of the commercial electric grid.
The Trump administration is pushing to develop the next generation of nuclear power, including billions in loans for large nuclear reactors to meet the skyrocketing power demand from data centers, and a program to boost advanced reactor designs and projects for military and civilian use. The Army expects that more than 20 nuclear microreactors will be built and operated. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Fresh government data show the U.S. economy grew at a sluggish 1.5% pace in the second quarter. Inflation was at a 3.7% annual pace in July. AAA puts the average price of a gallon of gas at $4.10 nationwide. This is AP News. Ed Donahue reports General Mills is removing artificial dyes from all its cereals in the U.S.
That includes Lucky Charms.
Frosted Lucky Charms!
Magically delicious.
And Trix.
Orangey orange, grapey purple, raspberry red. What? Lime green? Wow, lime green! Now Trix is fruitier.
The shift will be to fruit and vegetable-based dyes and colors derived from spices like paprika and turmeric to keep their bright colors. General Mills says 90% of its retail products are free of artificial dyes. Products that still have them, including some Betty Crocker cake mixes and fruit roll-ups, will transition to natural dyes by the end of next year. Rival Kellogg says it will remove artificial colors from all its cereals in the U.S. by the end of this year. I'm Ed Donahue.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
Good morning, Guam. It's KGUM-FM, Wave 105.1, the Talk of Guam. And right now, for your regularly scheduled program, we have UOG Sustainability Waves, hosted by Mr. Jared Castro. You can catch this program every Thursday between 11 to 12, where you join the University of Guam, Sea Grant, G3, Center for Island Sustainability, and EPSCoR, for an engaging conversation with scientists, biologists, and community members. Learn about the latest initiatives for sustainable Guam and discover how you can make a difference. This is KGUM-FM, Wave 105.1. We're streaming online at thewave105.com, on YouTube, Wave 105.1, FM Guam, and the Glimpses Radio app. 671-922-1051, 1052 is our studio line for you to join in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in, and this is KGUM-FM. This is UOG Sustainability Waves.
Saga over whether the president's name can be added to the venue. Canada.
Perfect. Good morning, everybody, and happy day. My name is Jared Castro with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant. I am extremely happy to be here today. For those of you who might be tuning in week over week, whether it's on the radio or if you're tuning in over YouTube. I'll do a brief introduction. My name is Jarrett Castro. I work specifically under the Guam Green Growth Initiative, which is one of Guam's largest private and public partnerships within the sustainability field, and we are based out of the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant. One of the biggest things that I really enjoy working about the organization and specifically the university as a whole is the concept of workforce development and pouring back into talent, and this idea of investing in talent, whether they're moving away or bringing them back home. And I get to share the space today with some really fun people, alumni of the university, people who have navigated home on their own terms, or people who have been the recipient of the Navigating Home program. For those of you who have heard it in basically the show, as I've kind of taken over the past few months, I really enjoy brand, I really enjoy product, and I really have translated that really well into obsessing over program. And one of the programs that we have that spearhead out of the CIS and Sea Grant team is the Navigating Home program, who I'm excited to introduce. I'm here with Morgan LG, who is a former Navigating Home fellow and is now employed at a full-time position with the Guam Energy Office, where some of her goals with her past work experience was with renewable energy, developing the plan towards 2045 with one of our other partners, that being Blue Planet Alliance. Morgan has also worked in a post-undergrad position with the university as a fellow, and then has spent about a year with the Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant, fully onboarded within her own renewable project, that whether it was through grant funding or spearheading it through specifically our senior leadership team. She is an alumni of the Colorado State University and Arizona State University, studying international studies during undergrad, and then some sort of like a sustainability concentration during your grad program. Mm-hmm. She currently serves as the program manager for the Guam Energy Office, specifically focusing on the mission of clean, sustainable, and equitable energy solutions for Guam. Everybody, if we can just welcome Morgan to the space. We also have Laurie with us today. I do not want to butcher your last name, so if you want to just say it for me, Laurie
Tumaneng.
Tumaneng. She is with the Guam Power Authority, who also has her undergraduate degree in sociology and political science from the University of Guam, and has then furthered her education with a master's from Penn State University in political science. She has worked in community impact, or she has done community impact work, political science work, has worked for the current legislature in the 2020s, I want to say, and you've then worked your way as a management analyst at the Guam Power Authority over the past few years. I was just sharing it with her earlier that her face looks familiar because she's also with the organization that is one of our main partners for the Center for Island Sustainability conference hosted every year. So we were able to see each other earlier this year. And yeah, I did a brief overview. You also have like a passion for social services, and it's kind of what has led you into the workforce development program maybe today as well. I also get to share the space with Rico Lizama, who is a G3 Conservation Corps alumni. He works with us full-time at the Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant, and in some way, shape, or form has maybe even evolved from what Morgan's position may have looked like within the renewable energy space and programs that we manage for the center. Rico has onboarded and kind of inherited that role full time. Mm-hmm. He's an alumni of the University of Arizona, specifically in architecture, and if you haven't caught his segment, it's from a few weeks back, and all you really have to do is type in sustainability waves Rico Lizama, and I think it should be there. Today, I'm excited to welcome all of them because, as I've shared earlier with the opening, workforce development is something that we really do try to capture, we really do try to manage, again, whether through a Navigating Home program or specifically through workforce development programs with the local workforce and then bringing them back to the university. All three of these recipients, our guests today, have been a part of the Energy Leadership Accelerator program with the Alaska Center for Energy and Power, based out of Alaska Fairbanks?
Yes.
I hope I get this correctly.
Exactly. Yep.
Perfect. The focus for this specific program is connecting community energy champions from regions like Alaska and Guam to build resilient microgrids and local workforces. And the way I've understood this workforce development program is it's investing in talent that is pre-selected, whether that's through application process of you being pre-vetted locally and then to kind of be, I guess, like not persuaded, but encouraged to apply for this as a whole, and then figure out what those solutions are, the learning concepts that you can bring back to Guam, and figure out how to apply them entirely. So I'll stop there for whoever might be listening. That is a handful and a mouthful of a production, but I really want to just kind of dive into Morgan. Morgan, walk us through like how you've been, like what have you been up to, and walk us through maybe like what it was like first onboarding as a Navigating Home fellow, and then what where it brought you today. Because for anybody who might be listening, Morgan is a full range, like, I don't want to refer to you as a product, but a full range, like, 360 embodying the product of, like, what it means to live on Guam, be educated here, fully receive a high school diploma, decide on your own. I want to go away. Like, that's just what you want to do. It wasn't because you chose this or that. It was just you wanted to study away, and you still decided to come home. So walk us through where you were when you finished undergrad, you learned about navigating home, and what prompted you to join the program and then land GEO. You fully have then onboarded into the role. So walk us through what that looked like.
Yeah, so for the first Navigating Home, I don't even think it was called Navigating Home at that point. It was their pilot project, so it was a short summer that I did with Guam Energy Office during my graduate studies. So that just came about with having a conversation with Austin, and he was like, there's this great program, like, this is something
Feel free to pull the mic, too.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, this is a great program that, like, you should look at, and so he knew, back up a little bit, I worked with UOG CIS on a different project.
Perfect. So I think I'm mixing up time frames.
Yeah, no, after my undergrad, I came back and I was working with the Seas Islands Alliance.
So you navigated home on your own.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, pretty much.
Somewhat.
Yeah. And then, having conversations with all of the people who are working at UOG CIS and seeing the education that everybody holds, I was like, I think I need to get more. So got support from Austin and Fran and the team, and then went to get my master's, came back for a summer for the Navigating Home pilot, that they then changed to the Navigating Home program, which was really cool to see.
So you had your hand in the sustainability field.
Yes.
Coming home on your own. And then you were like, I want to go back to school.
Yes.
You went back to school, and then you decided, I don't want to work where I'm living, and I want to go back home.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
The opportunity to work for my master's program, I focused on renewable energy and energy policies, and so I was like, I want to come back to the island and do something more for the island, because I already knew we had the RPS, and I was like,
walk us through what RPS is.
The renewable portfolio standard that I'm sure Laurie
talk us through it.
We just have that 100% renewable energy goal by 2045.
Wait, this was with Blue Planet Alliance.
This was in 2019. I believe they helped. Right.
But things are piggybacked off.
Yeah,
of
it's
all interconnected.
Perfect. Okay. So you studied away. You were going to ASU, which is the rival school for the university.
For my school.
Who am I to say these
But
things?
it might be the better.
Well,
people are going to kill me for saying
that. So you went to ASU. You were studying sustainability. And what year was this?
2021 is when I left.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you finished school, and then what was like the turning point? And I'm only asking this because, and I want to just kind of break the ice. It's good to talk about it because the workforce development program that you guys just did for, it's don't say it, I'm going to say it, ELA.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
ELA, which is the Energy Leadership Accelerator Program. For anybody who might be listening, this program specifically is targeted towards people who are in the field and want to advance their career. So it really does capture workforce development. And I share that with the three of you here. You're like, yes, we know. To break the ice, so people who are listening while they're driving are going to play this back, like what a workforce development program might look like in a different field. It's really up to them as to what that calling is. How do you have this conversation with your boss? Like, how do you advocate for wanting to do a little bit more? And how does it tie back to all of these things? So walk us through, when you finished the program at ASU, there must have been a turning point. Like, you've moved away before, you came home, and you decided it again. Yes, you had your eye on it because it was a navigating home and this was my way to do it. But I'm sure there was opportunity, like, where you were. But what was that turning point for you when you received the diploma and you're like, I still gotta go home? Like, that's my thing.
Well, yeah. So undergrad and graduate, I don't know if it's similar for everybody who kind of experiences education outside of UOG. I focused a lot of the things that I did and the work I was doing in my programs on Guam's energy field and, like, the policy. So I was like, it's sort of a natural fit. And so I was, like, just reaching out. So the Navigating Home, the summer program, gave me the connection to GEO. Obviously kept the connection with CIS and Sea Grant. So I reached out and I was like, hey, anybody have anything that, like, I want to come home. I want to come home. I want to do some work. I want to see what I can do here for the island. And then obviously Austin was like, yeah, we have this.
And you chose the 1 year.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, the Navigating Home, I was under the Workforce Fellow. Like,
Okay.
it was a different program, but they sort of did the same thing in a way. Whereas Navigating Home is with agencies, I believe.
Yeah.
I was sitting at UOG. So that the position that I got was able, with the program, was able to like seat me at UOG to do the renewable energy stuff.
Got it. Okay, cool. So you decided to come home. You were partnered with GEO
for the summer,
eventually. And then what was the turning point? Because I think you, correct me on your timeline, right? Like, you did spend some time with CIS, and then the calling for GEO came.
Yeah, graduate school came back for the year with UOG CIS. And then there was a grant called Solar for All that we had co-written with GEO, CIS and GEO. Me and then Clem, another of your team, we wrote that together. And so it was awarded. It was like $62 million at that time. And then so it was sort of a natural that I followed it. And so GEO had the grant, was the administrator of the grant on the island. And then
you're like,
I want to be that person to run that program. And so with the with the connections, also hopefully with my resume, I was like, can I,
my expertise,
can I apply to this program and be the manager? And then so I just transitioned to GEO, and I've been there since 2020.
And walk us through. So what is it like now? Leaving, the university, you spent a lot of time going to school. Like, let's just kind of like clap for that. You spent a lot of time going to school. You ended up working in higher education in the academic space, switching entirely to one niche field. What does it look like today? It's clearly doing well for you. You're doing the accelerator program, but what have you been finding beneficial? What do you like about it? How's GEO going for you these days?
GEO is great. I like that I'm able to work on programs that sort of directly affect and help the community. So we have that's the focus at GEO. A lot of our programs and initiatives give back to the community in some type of way, either a rebate, either free like solar lighting in parks for safety and for energy efficiency purposes. We have like another program that does weatherization. So they'll go to your house, they'll change out 1-for-1 for like more efficient appliances, do some weatherization around the house, like light bulbs, door sealing and window sealing. So things like that, that's where I really wanted to pivot to, and be able to partner with like GPA more, and then UOG in a different capacity, because it really was, UOG was my main experience. I was like, I feel like I need to I just want to see what it's like on the other side, where we're still partnering, because it's important, but to see what other kind of work I can do in this field.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. It's fun to work with. I wasn't, for anybody who might be listening, I was not employed with the center when Morgan was working with them, but I eventually met this girl who everyone was obviously talking about. They were like, oh, we used to work with this girl, or like you missed a coworker, right? Like there's, we used to have this coworker, and there was a set of you. I think there was like 3 of you.
We were the cluster.
You guys all left in 3.
Yeah, we did.
There was always these funny stories of this lunch, and we missed this person. And I was like, who is this Morgan? Who is this one? And this one day I met Morgan, and eventually we had to work together. We're still on a project together that we're hoping to clear out over the next few months, and it's been fun. It's been fun to really see like you witness, I guess, like the fruits of your own labor in that way of like, how are we managing things together, and to learn like the culture that has been truly manifested from the leadership that we have. Like, it is embodied and it's mirrored, and it's fun to work with people who really have a good grip on and grasp on like what we're doing. So thanks for kind of walking us through that. Over to Miss Tumaneng.
Tumaneng, yes.
Tumaneng. Walk us through what life is like. So you're an undergrad alumni in sociology and political science. You also went to a very prestigious school of Penn State, studying political science as well, and you're now with GPA. Walk us through what life was like during undergrad, and like what kind of brought you into your role today.
So, wow, undergrad was actually a long time ago, so I'm trying to go back. But I'm very thankful for my undergrad experience. I think there's a lot of opportunity at UOG that you cannot get at other universities. But you don't realize that until you're actually in UOG.
Okay.
And so part of my studies, I was able to actually go to Bali as part of the Bali Field School under Dr. Johnson's sociology course, where we connected with a local, I believe they're a nonprofit, trying to increase people's knowledge about local weaving and dyeing techniques. As I think that's an art form that not many people see as. I'm trying to word it carefully, but at the time, back in the early 2010s, they wanted to push more people learning about this art form because they noticed that as people move from Bali and go into other areas, that they were losing something that's really important to their culture, like understanding what is how being connected, I guess, to nature and how that can benefit them. We think about, what is the economic benefit of learning certain skills? But I think we're at a point where we can relieve ourselves that there doesn't need to be an economic value. It's valuable because we've determined it to be valuable.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was such an important lesson that I think that I would not have gotten anywhere else.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you're someone who does enjoy, like, the traditional academic setting and, like, having that, like, application part, too. Like,
yes.
Applying theory to application, like, hands-on ever since for you. Like, walk us through what it was like. And you're at GPA today. Like, maybe if you want to walk us through a little bit about your role, we will probably go into that in the next segment because we're all going to relate it back to the workforce development program that you're doing. But what was it like picking the grad school that you went to and then finding this niche of eventually moving over to GPA, like what you maybe studied, or was there a workforce development program that really like sparked something for you into the role that you have today?
So I wasn't too sure what I was going to do after undergrad. I think that's very common for a lot of
Some
students.
of us are still there.
Yeah, sometimes I think, do I really know what I want to do? But that transition, I thought, well, I still feel like I have a lot to learn. And I chose political science because the summer before my senior year, I was part of, it's called the Ralph Bunche summer program at Duke University, where they take minority students and kind of put them through what a graduate level course would be like, to kind of just introduce them. And it was really good because they also had us network with a lot of academics and professors throughout the U.S. to kind of gain that insight. I think it's very valuable that people have those types of opportunities because for a lot of people, they don't know how to navigate applying to grad school in the first place, and that is such a barrier. And for them to have this opportunity for minority students, that was great. And so from there, I applied to a political science program, got into Penn State. I thought, well, this is the farthest I could go. Let's see how it is and put myself in a different environment. To not necessarily to test myself, but to see like how I would be able to handle that kind of change. And I've learned a lot. As you had kind of said earlier, that I really like taking the academic applications and see how they test out in the real world.
It. Like your work experience like speaks for itself. But yeah, it's amazing. What was the pivot like going from the legislature into Guam Power Authority? Like how have you liked it? Like what have been your biggest benefits and like key takeaways of maybe past work experience, your education, and into your role that you have today?
So my first adult job was actually with the Leon Guerrero administration in their policy office. And I think that was a good crash course into how government of Guam actually operates. As we see Gov Guam, and then we kind of have our own opinions on how it works, but to actually see how hard these people are working to really just go to manage their operations and fulfill their mission, I'm just in awe, especially with the resources that they have. And it was somebody told me, it was like, oh, you know how there are times where people just push you and then you have to learn how to swim? It's like, oh, but instead we're pushing you in the fire. And so you just got to learn how to navigate. It's like, oh, yeah.
What would you say, like, has there been any sort of, outside of the Energy Leadership Accelerator program, maybe during your current role as a management analyst, are there any other workforce development programs that you've had your eye on? You're someone who clearly appreciates like professional certification. So what has there been anything else outside of this that you maybe participated in? What does that look like for you?
So GPA, as a management analyst, I work mainly on grants. And so what we've been doing is, as part of our grant projects, there's always a workforce development, workforce training aspect to it. So right now we are working on a grant, a project we've already been awarded from DOI for our integrated resource plan or clean energy plan support with the National Lab of the Rockies.
Exciting.
And as part of that, we have a cohort that's going there to learn how to do the analysis ourselves. Because I'm sure every Guam agency is going through this. We're seeing a lot of people retiring, not enough middle management positions, and a lot of new.
Nationally, for sure.
Yeah,
nationally,
we have a lot of new, so we call them baby engineers.
Yeah.
And so what we need to do is get them trained up on how to do these analyses on their own, and that way, as people retire, we're not losing kind of institutional knowledge. And so I'm really excited. I'm going with them. We leave in less than 20 days.
This is amazing. That's so
Exciting.
cool. It's cool to like listen, because I'm going to go over to Rico. We're going to talk about him being in the Conservation Corps, but it's really nice to be able to like. Morgan, Rico, I'm going to speak for you as well. We all attend these things where the workforce development phrase it's thrown wildly today.
Yeah.
But like really, like what is it? Is it like a tiny, like is it this small certification that you have within your organization, or are you partnering like your talent to really say like, no, clearly this is like the training we give you because you work here, but there's something else that we want to certify. There's a brand or there's a company that we work with, and like this is where you want to go. And it clearly sounds like you guys have a pretty good team that like does the research, figures out what the development program is, i.e. through this grant, and like how can we create this next wave of like engineers. So regardless if you're the person that's being awarded it or taking a team with you to really invest in as a development program, it's amazing. So thanks for kind of walking us through that. Over to Rico. You've worked for the Guam Green Growth Conservation Corps. You served as one of the 12 members specifically within the conservation field. Walk us through what that workforce development looks like after undergrad and like returning back home to Guam.
Wow. So when I returned back to Guam back in like 2023, I had not heard of the Conservation Corps up until maybe like early 2024, which was I was already kind of like seeking employment and other opportunities. So I eventually found the Conservation Corps program through like their social media, specifically their Instagram, which I was able to understand from their previous cohorts that it's this workforce development program that spans like 5 to 6 months, and just kind of being exposed to different, not just like local agencies and federal agencies, but also nonprofit organizations, other partners that are kind of in that sustainability sector, and just kind of understanding from their point of view by working with them has kind of exposed me to those experiences as well, which I'm like super grateful for, especially working with other people who are as interested as I am. It was really interesting to see like where everyone was coming from in terms of like their backgrounds, but also their educational background, and like how they were able to work on these projects from all these different experiences, where they were like a former accountant, if they were working in human resources, business administration, even like entrepreneurs. And then me as someone who's coming from architecture, I was understanding sustainability through that. That was how I was introduced sustainability, or even just conservation in general. So when I was able to understand my role, especially within the Guam Green Growth like Conservation Corps, I was like, all right, well, I could probably kind of pave my own way into here by understanding that like it can go just beyond architecture. It's a
building like sustainable like innovation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not me answering the question. I'm like, oh my god.
No, I mean you're
numbered like 11. Yeah.
Because I mean I've been talking about myself since like last week, so it's like it's been a very interesting program so far. I mean, even just kind of like understanding where we are now, like compared to where we were before in like 2024, a lot of things have changed, especially in terms of the amount of people who are able to get these kind of green jobs, especially in the economy. But then also understanding that there is a lot of talent, and there's a lot of like people who are able to, do the work, especially like with their own experiences, and being able to collaborate with everyone else was something I really enjoy doing, and just seeing like firsthand, really. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for walking us through that. And for anybody who might be listening, the main reason again why we're here today is to is to really talk about like what our overall program at the Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant does, how Guam Green Growth really does kind of capture this idea of the largest public and private partnership. I use these words like very loosely, but being I guess you could say a mission-oriented division that really does encompass like what sustainability looks like at the enterprise level all the way down to the consumer level. It is amazing to be a part of it and to really share like the platform today with people from GPA, Guam Energy Office, one of our own internal talents as well, like to fully talk about things that matter, whether again, if that's at an enterprise level or at a consumer base, like just day to day I'm going home as a resident. Morgan touched on something really briefly earlier, and it was the phrase rebate program. And for those of you, I am speaking as a personal individual right now. For those of you who are not aware, I'm saying I do not read a lot of what comes out on my statement, or I do not take you up on the flyers when I am at these outreach programs. But when I really sit down as a community member and I look at this, I'm like, oh my God, the amount of work that really goes into this. And let me just kind of rant here for a minute, or not rant, but give a larger explanation. You go to these things, you see the rebate thing, or you see the energy save sticker on your appliance, but it's really up to me, like when I'm going and cutting the check or swiping the Visa, or like saying like, am I going to make time out of my day to go and get my rebate back? It's really up to me. What I want to share for anybody who might be listening, when the team was talking about programs or these workforce development things, Rico missed a part, but it was about how, or in my brain, you guys learned how to do an energy audit, like with GPA, like your team has fully came out to do that. But back to rebate, and something at a consumer level that we don't do is, I don't want to say it's GPA, I don't want to say it's GEO, maybe it's the both of you together. Something that your team has done synergistically is really taken account for where Guam's earning or community household earning is today. Before, it would always be this like, you have to meet this maximum, and it would be a pretty like competitive number of what you need to earn, and it was not a lot of people were making that, right? We're pushed to get these jobs, we're pushed to make more money. So obviously we've seen us move in this direction. What I saw in this most recent rebate is you guys have really done a deep analysis on like what the true household income looks like today for someone who is going and maybe a part of a workforce development program and is awarded X amount of dollar amount to take home. It's amazing. Like the rebate programs today are amazing. It's not just for the starter family or this nuclear X, Y, or Z, whatever that number might be. It's pretty competitive. You see people who maybe make something at a retirement level base. You guys have these programs out there down for stoves, up into like the ACs that you're installing. Like it really is community impact driven. So I just kind of wanted to applaud the people in the room today that are not, I'm not saying you're fully making it happen. You're part of a team that is doing the analysis, making us understand like where are we at today and how can we truly help the consumer save, right? We saw the like power raise of like $56 recently. Like everyone got, I'm really reading my mail, guys. I'm doing my best. But there's also, when you scroll and you look at what's there are ways to combat the raise. As a consumer, like what am I doing to make sure that I go and I get my rebate? Yes, I have to take time off, but that's a part of life. Like you have to figure out how to schedule your day, like to go about that. I do not know if we're going to keep moving. Energy Leader Accelerator Program, I get to share the space today with really great people. Again, Morgan, Laurie, and Rico, all from different sectors of energy, whether that's the Guam Energy Office, Guam Power Authority, or an alumni of the Guam Green Growth Conservation Program as a full-time CIS and Sea Grant staff, are here to really talk to us about the Energy Leader Accelerator Program, all based out of Alaska. We're going to take a quick break, and over the next 20 minutes, we're going to go into what this program really was, what the day-to-day function was like from arrival to end, what it was like learning amongst your peers, and what your key takeaways are for your daily role up until today. So with that being said, Yuli, if you could just cut us to a break, and I just want to say thank you again.
Conversations that matter. Community that listens. Wave 105, the Talk of Guam. A Glimpse's media radio station.
We're looking past standard calendar obligations today to uncover a beautiful grassroots tradition rooted in pure, unexpected kindness. Welcome to the National Day Spotlight for August 27th.
The beautiful history behind Just Because Day began in the late 1950s when Joseph J. Goodwin surprised his wife in Los Gatos, California, with a new transistor radio. When she frantically questioned what anniversary she had forgotten, Joseph simply replied, "Just because." Deeply moved by her genuine joy, he established a local holiday originally celebrated on the third Wednesday of May. As neighbors embraced the tradition, it steadily expanded across the country. This organic, decades-long evolution perfectly mirrors the unpredictable nature of the day itself, proving that the most profound moments in life require absolutely no logical justification to completely change someone's world.
A national day that started with a transistor radio.
I wonder how many people still know what that is.
Probably not a lot.
Not a lot. It was a radio we could carry around, kind of like a ghetto blaster.
But smaller. But they don't know what a ghetto blaster
That's
is either,
true.
probably.
Really dating myself now.
Yes, you are. We're also celebrating National Pots de Creme Day. I'm Alice Anderson.
And I'm Marlo Anderson with National Day Calendar, reminding you to celebrate every day.
If you're looking for world-class website hosting at a fair price, Pair Networks is your best choice. Whether you're a professional web designer or a beginner just getting your site online, Pair Networks has a web hosting plan that's right for you. Log on and learn more at pair.com. That's PAIR.com. Pair Networks, world-class web hosting at a fair price. Visit us at pair.com. Pair Networks.
Registering a domain name on the web? You should know about Pairnick. Pairnick offers .com names at a great price with quality service you expect. Because Pairnick is powered by internet leader Pair Networks. Whether you need a domain name for business or personal use, Pairnick is your best choice. Remember Pairnick when you need a domain name. That's PAIRNIC.com. Pairnick.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Haganya, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haganya is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haganya grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs, to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the show hosts, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of the staff or management of Wave 105.1 FM, Glimpses Media, or our partners. We strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, and we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105.1 FM. Enjoy the show.
Good afternoon or good morning still. It's almost noon and we'll be figuring out what what our lunch plans are after that. But I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Jarrett Castro, for whoever might be driving, listening on YouTube, tuning in. I am with the University of Guam Center for Island Sustainability and Sea Grant, specifically with the Guam Green Growth segment, and I'm your host today for UOG Sustainability Waves. I'm so excited to be here and share the space with Laurie, Rico, and Morgan, who are all fresh from travel, coming back from the Energy Leadership Accelerator program based out of Alaska. I don't want to butcher this, so I'll do a really quick brief on my understanding of what the program was and the key takeaways, but we'll hand it over to Rico to kind of walk us through what the program really did offer all of you, and then we'll go into how you all learned about it, what your key takeaways are, etc. So the Energy Leadership Accelerator program, also known as ELA, was designed for local energy champions who envision and execute emerging energy technology projects. ELA connects remote island communities who are building resilient energy futures and the local workforce. So what this really encompasses is a professional development program for leaders in remote and island communities, specifically in Alaska and Guam, to build resilient microgrids and local workforces. This is co-led by the ACEP, which stands for...
ACEP is the Alaska Center for Energy and Power.
And the Rocky Mountain Institute with support from the National Science Foundation.
Yes.
The goals are to reduce heavy reliance on delivered diesel and sharing strategies to overcome geographic and logistical clean energy challenges. So over to Rico. Walk us through what this program is all about and how you kind of learned about it.
Yeah, so thank you, Jared. So the ELA program really is a workforce development program that's based out of Fairbanks, Alaska, specifically the university. And it's mostly focusing on building connections and networking with already existing energy professionals, but that have started their basically like early career professionals, and we're basically connecting between people within the entire Alaskan region, but also as well as Guam. And of course, there was a previous cohort where that did happen, but it was more so focused on like people from the Caribbean, so specifically like the Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, and there was even one person that was from Hawaii. But for this cohort, which is the second cohort called Cross Currents, it was, again, like you were saying, it was awarded the NSF funding, so National Science Foundation, and it was to help bridge the connection between Alaska and Guam through renewable energy, especially considering how we have similar microgrid projects or even similar renewable energy issues and concerns that we all kind of share, just even in spite of like where we are in the world.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you first learned about it, where were you? Like, what you were with CIS and Sea Grant? Were you transitioning off of any specific project? Like, how exactly did you learn about the workforce development project?
Well, because for me, I was particularly still working with the Perceptions on Ocean Energy grant, and we were kind of phasing that out soon, and hopefully like that survey report will be done. But basically, I got word from one of the program officers kind of mentioning about this opportunity with the other Sea Grant professionals, especially from Hawaii Sea Grant and Alaska Sea Grant. So when I found out about this program, this was also the same program that Dr. Shelton was also mentioning, where it was like, okay, you could definitely join in and see like what this is all about. And so
plug into thought leaders like investing.
Yes.
Because there's a synergistic theme here.
Yeah, and I was like super grateful to even like be considered that, because that just shows a lot of support on their end. But
how
then
much they're willing to invest in you.
Yes,
the talent that we've acquired. Yep.
Exactly. And then when I heard about this program, I was thinking, shoot, who else would I know that would be into this kind of like program? And I sent over like some of the information to Morgan, and then that's where Morgan sent the information to Laurie, and then it just kind of started like this cool like networking opportunity, which of course like I knew of certain people, but of course like when we were in these sessions together, again like these fellows when we were working with in Alaska, we attend these bi-weekly virtual sessions, and basically just kind of understanding different programs. And it was really cool just to understand, not just from our own experiences and kind of where we're coming from, but also the fellows from Alaska, especially learning from like how they deal with energy issues, energy conservation, literacy, education, all these different aspects that kind of fall under this umbrella, which we're still working under.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. So, Laurie, you clearly found found out about this through like your network and like working within the industry. But walk us through when it landed on your email or in your space. Like, where was your headspace at? Like, what projects were you transitioning off of that you're willing to share, or where were you like in your career? You've talked a little bit about going back to grad school and having those like pivotal moments. Like, how did this resonate with you? Yeah.
So as Rico said, I learned about it from Morgan. I actually met Morgan when she was part of writing the Solar for All grant, and since then, GEO and GPA have a really close partnership, and I've just been working with Morgan ever since.
Yeah.
Really. And so she reached out saying, I don't think she told me exactly what the program was. She said, would I be open to having somebody contact me regarding an opportunity? And I always say yes to opportunities because it's really important.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to stop yourself or be your own barrier to things. So I was like, okay, for sure. And then I got an email from Annalise, who's one of the coordinators from ASAP, and she kind of explained what the program was, that it's really for energy leaders. I had to ask her, when you want somebody from the utility, because I think that was the main connection, they really wanted a representative from the power utility. Asked her, is it important that she has an engineer, or could it be somebody else who's more of, I guess, an admin perspective, a non-technical background?
Like the project liaison.
Yes. Yeah. And she said there's no technical aspect to worry about. She just wanted people who are familiar with the energy sector and a part of the team in establishing policy. So I was like, okay, I'll look into it. We did our interview, and then
it resonated. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And Morgan, what was going on with you? Like, where were you? You are like the workforce development guru. So walk us through how this
ended. That's crazy to say that. I mean, I'm working on different renewable energy projects or an energy efficiency projects at GEO. Luckily, Rico emailed me and he said, he's like, hey, this is a program. Apply for it. I didn't actually know he applied for it for some reason. It didn't click. And then so I was like, okay, obviously just follow the course of the application, did the interview.
It's a pretty competitive program, guys. It's limited spots too.
Yeah. I honestly didn't realize that either. I was like, this is just going to be a fun conversation with the program.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All set. It was like each of you were on the committee board hiring yourself. Like, they just sent you in. We kind of like walk us through what that looks like. It's a competitive program. We live on Guam. It's a small geographic, like geolocation here, and you're going up against like larger, not necessarily territories, but just larger communities. Like, you guys applied. It was a pretty amazing thing to be awarded this, and I want to say it was less than 20, or am I being like conservative? It
was roughly like 10 fellows.
10 of us,
And
these people are whoever's they're just like, they kind of referred me, and it just like Rico does not work for the Alaska Fairbanks team. Like, this is a full vetted application process. So it came over to you, obviously resonated, and where were you during that time, and what kind of called you in that direction?
So some of the focuses that for this cohort that called me to apply was the microgrids. Like, we're all microgrids. Alaska is many, and then Guam is like a small little microgrid.
Help me understand microgrid as someone who goes home and I turn on the AC and I go and get myself a cup of water.
I'm going to give that to our
in-house representative.
Please understand, it's a microgrid. It's self-contained. So in the we call it the mainland. Alaska calls them the lower 48. The transmission lines are actually connected across state lines. So if you're without power in California, for example, you can buy power from your neighboring state.
Got it.
Whereas with Guam, we are our only connection.
And the reason why I asked you to explain that is because you seem to be each of you are passionate about this, but you talked about this. Like, this is kind of your why you came home, and you study this in undergrad, or it's a topic where you just said it for anybody who might be listening. It's different when you study away. You pick something from home that you want to focus on while you're studying away. So I'm assuming this resonated.
100%.
Yeah.
On top, I mean, with Guam's
Look
grid,
at me, I feel like Barbara Walters today. Okay.
How do you feel?
It's the fact that we have to figure out our own problems and have to figure out like how to find solutions that we don't have the same access to help like other states, the lower 48 or our mainland, like what we would call it. Like, that's what pushed me like to apply for this. On top of that, they also had a biomass waste to energy focus, and personally, like waste to energy.
Waste energy.
Okay. Personally, it is. I'm very interested in learning more about it. So the fact that this is a program that they would have professionals come and talk to us about like what's working in Alaska and what's been happening, which is really cool. Like we went to tour some facilities like in different remote areas.
Yeah.
That's also what called me to. I was like, not speaking for GEO, not speaking for GPA, just speaking for myself. I was like, we need to, we need to look at prior to installing. That's not what I'm saying. We need to look at different sources aside from solar, because we have solar on. We've got it. Professionals know what they're doing, but like, what else are we doing? Which was that's always why I want to apply to opportunities like this, because what else can we do?
I love this, and I love that each of you have something within you that you're all sharing. Like, yes, I have this job. Yes, I've received this job because I've done my work. I have my accolades, X, Y, and Z. But each of you all share a sentiment. We were just talking off air about how you are a recipient of cross savings and buying the right thing and making sure you apply for a program. Each of you have this like innate discipline towards your profession, and it's something that I really want to applaud. What I want to open up with, we have about 5 more minutes, is the key takeaways from this program, like if you're willing to share, right? Because for anybody who's listening, when you go to a conference or you go to a program like this, you don't just come back, sit at your desk, and you're like, yep, it's time to do it. But you have to start talking about it, right? You have to start putting a project team together. Where does that leave the 3 of you today in each of your roles? Like, sparking conversation. Do you think we're ready with the key takeaways that you guys have learned to apply within the next year? Is this like a 10-year plan that we see ourselves going down? Is it a 5-year plan? I guess we'll start with that. Like, the key takeaways from the program, do you see it being applicable within the next 5 to 10 years at minimum or at most?
So one of the parts of the program is that you have a personal project that you want to work on. So some of the things that they've suggested would be blog posts or community briefs.
Outreach material.
Outreach material. Cool. It's really up to the individual what they would like. So as part of my personal project, as I mentioned before, GPA is on its way to renew the Clean Energy Master Plan. But the way that we're framing it is going to be different from the previous iteration, whereas we would like to connect all the projects that we're going to be doing, our goal to 100% renewable energy by 2045, on its impact on the community. So if you're familiar with the FEMA Community Lifelines framework, it's kind of the way you visualize these projects. What are the impacts to healthcare? What are the impacts to public safety? And so kind of learning, taking these technical projects and making them accessible to the community, that was my main focus on this program. Nice. How exactly are individuals, because a lot of them are part of nonprofits or government agencies, that they also have to do outreach, and they're out in the community, and learning the lessons from them has been such an important aspect to me. Because I also teach at UOG.
Nice.
I teach research design.
I'm like Mazda.
For
here.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so it's research design for political science, and I feel like a lot of the approach in that type of class is how are you going to apply it to these academic settings? Whereas the way I approach the class is, well, these are skills that you can take anywhere. So if you're really interested in this topic, these are the steps that you can take to kind of implement it or to answer the question.
This is amazing. So for whoever might be listening, this is like full one-on-one spiel of, it's not just being applied into your full-time role, but also as an instructor, and like just the info that you're getting, making sure that you're practicing this concept of, dare I say, enough and reciprocity, and making sure it goes back to like tenfold, right? Maybe it's not tomorrow we're going and we're putting together a team, but you're bridging the gap of information and connection through education. So thank you for sharing that. Morgan, over to you. Waste to energy. We're talking about this later, because when I tell you I have helped fill the landfill.
Yeah, we all
it's
have.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after the typhoon, I'm gutting. It's terrible. But over to you. So what are some of the key takeaways, I guess, if you want personal projects, developmental career paths that you have of your own, what do you see applying, like in application?
So my personal project, I was leaning into I had a leading question, because we have the renewable portfolio standard. So I wanted to see where waste to energy would fit into it, because it does say biomass, but does that necessarily mean, with the legal language that we have, that it's specific waste to energy, like, systems? So I wanted to do a policy brief that we could give to our legislatures, we could give to academics, we could GPA, like our partners that we work with closely. And then on the flip side, I wanted to do a community blog post of just educating the public, just putting more education out there on what waste to energy is so people can make their own decisions.
Like Morgan the academic on your blog post? Or is this like
Morgan from the ELA Fellowship.
I love
Yeah.
this. Okay. This is no ties to anywhere there. You both... Oh.
Already.
Rico, wrap it home. So what are you doing with all of the information as well? Are you on the blogs? Like, what are we doing?
Well, actually, it's funny because we were just talking about this like earlier because the personal projects kind of range from anything, and one of my personal project specifically was originally going to be something with the Post survey report, but I kind of ended up thinking, well, there are so many great resources that we have worked on, a lot of energy resources that are publicly available, but not everyone knows about it. Not everyone is reading it in their own way or not understanding why it's impacting the way it is. So my personal project was to kind of create this sort of digital repository where we were able to gather all these different documentations and resources that are already available and just be consolidated in this one space. And then also like, giving credit and then spotlighting all the different agencies, nonprofit organizations, partners that have helped in this energy industry, but also like with Guam's energy system and just kind of being able to help the community understand why our energy system is the way it is, and also being able to give more resources for energy education and literacy.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. The three of you have literally impacted me and influenced as well. I'm not joking. Waste to energy is because we're also like looking at things like ocean energy, right? Like waste to energy is amazing to just have that on my brain now because it makes me just feel good knowing that the things that we accumulate it could benefit us in some sort of way. So thank you. I'm thanking all three of you on behalf of the team, just coming in, sharing what it is about your role and how this all kind of ties back, and honestly changing the narrative because I was going down this path.
I'm just showing some love. Rico's
Oh,
getting.
exciting! We have some shout outs.
Some shout out to Rico.
Shout out to Rico is really
Oh,
you're
wow.
a star.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much to the three of you for really just sitting down, walking me through this, and over to Laurie for tying it back to a personal project, because it's very easy for me to be like, so how are you going to do this at GPN? What are you going to do at GEO and at CIS? But that component of like, I'm a teacher as well, or I'm an academic, and this is just it's for you, Jared, like as the community member, or Rico, like as the person that's a professional that might need to go and find this in a repository. This is such vital information, and I'm excited with the community to enjoy the fruits of all of your labor. So thank you so much for stopping by and making time today. Again, I am here with Laurie, Morgan, and Rico, all recipients and proud, I guess you can call yourselves alumni, of the Energy Leadership Accelerator Program, also known as ELA, where it is a professional development program for leaders in remote and island communities, focusing on building resilient microgrids and local workforces. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today, and thank you so much for Yuli for kind of just guiding us through the show. Again, my name is Jarrett Castro with Guam Green Growth, and I'm so excited to catch up with everybody next week.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.